Hey, everybody, welcome to Sports Frenzy 2.0, the weekend edition. This will hit on June the 5th, recording on June the 2nd. I am the maestro, Kevin Crane.
I'm the conquistador, Dave Height.
We're going to try to tie up a lot of loose ends here in the first segment. We've got some TV and streaming news, some music news, and a book review. And then in the second segment, we got some big time movie reviews. And then we will go to the dumbasses and a lot of moments of silence at the end.
Yeah, too many.
Yeah, so we need to make sure we give a lot of time because a lot of significant, great people have passed in the entertainment world. So stay tuned for that. We're going to start off with wrestling. Just because
Here we
the Conquistador actually had something to contribute to this. I was just going to mention that the AEW pay-per-view, they only do 4 a year. So it's not like WWE who does one every month. So AEW only does one pay-per-view every 3 months, so quarterly. Quarterly. So they just did Double or Nothing. I did not pay for it. It was $50. Sorry, You're not getting that out of me. But I did read the results. But the funny thing is, the Conquistador actually watched a clip of the Stadium Stampede match between the Inner Circle and the Pinnacle.
It was the Chris Jericho and his opponent going through Jacksonville Stadium, and they wind up in Urban Meyer's office beating on each other. They walk in, and there's Meyer and Strong in discussion. All of a sudden, Strong is tossing footballs to Jericho to whip into his opponent's head. Next thing you know, Meyer subtly, or not so subtly, but just kind of hands off his laptop to Jericho so he can wail on him with that. Then you have the obligatory, the opponent gets a hold of a football helmet, swings and misses, and all sorts of chaos. And then Jericho throws him in one of the office chairs and shoves him through a doorway, and he does the flip through the doorway.
Yep, and the Inner Circle did end up winning, so they do not have to break up. That was the big stipulation.
Good for them. If you get to see the clip,
it had hysterical. It had to be MJF he was beating up on.
It would probably it had to be. But oh my God, Strong looked like he belonged there with going with it. Urban Meyer just looked like the freaking deer in the headlights. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah. If anybody doesn't know with AEW, the owner of the Jaguars, his son owns AEW. So they use the Jacksonville football stadium and Daly's place right next door. They've been using it for the last year plus as the one place where they could hold weekly Dynamite tapings.
There you go.
Now, big news on the AEW front outside of the pay-per-view. I do want to mention, by the way, Dr. Britt Baker loved the DMD. Won the women's championship. She beat Hikaru Shida. You know, I could have been happy with that either way, especially if I had been stuck in the middle.
Wow.
But there will be a new. AEW is really trying to compete with WWE now, as they are putting forth a new second show, which will air at 10 o'clock on Friday, right after SmackDown ends on Fox. Rampage will be starting in the fall. And then Dynamite will be moving to TBS on Wednesday nights. But of course,
you're just lining it all up.
Oh, I like AEW. I really, WWE is garbage. It really is. It really is. I know I've talked about how I've watched the last couple pay-per-views for WWE, but the whole thing with they split the talent up, so they've only got half their talent on Monday night and the other half on Friday night, and they don't mix.
Why not?
So you've got a Friday night champion, the Universal Champion, and Roman Reigns. The Monday night champion is Bobby Lashley. They never fight.
Then what the hell's the point?
That's why I'm saying it doesn't work as well as AEW. AEW goes back to the old TNT days. And that's why I like the Inner Circle next to NWO. And they actually had a farewell ceremony this past Wednesday. Well, Friday. They actually had a special Friday night Dynamite. Eric Bischoff came out.
Did he now?
To give the Inner Circle an informal farewell in case they would lose the Sunday night pay-per-view. And he said, there's only one other faction I have ever been associated with better than the Inner Circle. And he was talking about the NWO. Well, everybody knew that.
Well, duh.
People still wear NWO shirts to this day because they were badass. And that's all I've got to say about that.
Moving on.
All right. Some TV and streaming news of shows we've talked about recently. My heart has been broken. NBC did pull the trigger and canceled Debris.
Duh.
So now there's a cliffhanger out there I will never know the answer to. Left or right, Dave? Left or right?
Terriers all over again.
Yep. So now I don't know how Debris would end.
Oh, those
Thanks
bastards.
Somehow the Breeders, even though I gave it a bad review, they must not be listening to me. They're at FX. Breeders got renewed for season 3.
Ugh.
So more depressing. Martin Freeman is a psychotic father, asshole stuff.
They keep on with this damn show, but they wouldn't pull Terriers for a second season.
No, and usually the cable networks are pretty good about at least giving these creators, these producers 2 years to establish some kind of a storyline.
Terriers had a great storyline to begin with.
Yeah.
All right, we'll get off that rampage.
No pun intended. I am starting to watch a show on Amazon, which looks interesting, called Panic. Bunch of high school students. There is some kind of a ritual they go through after high school involving very daredevilish, high-wired, deadly type acts. So I'm not quite done with the first episode yet, but stay tuned, kids. I might have some more thoughts and maybe a review once I get done with the first season.
Okay.
HBO Max is actually adding a $10 ad platform where instead of paying the $15 you do now, you can drop it down to $10 if you will accept ads. And they swear no more than 4 minutes of ads an hour.
Right.
But of course,
bull crap.
But of course, this does not.
It's a gateway ad.
It does not include all these movies we were talking about recently.
Exactly.
The straight to HBO Max and to theaters, like The Conjuring's coming out. The Conjuring 3 is coming out this Friday. No, that wouldn't count.
Of course not.
Yeah, you can't. You still have to pay the $15 for that.
Yeah, no. And
The Matrix coming later, and Dune. We've talked about this.
It's a gateway ad.
All right, you have a book review.
Well, actually, I've got a couple of TV things.
Okay.
I wound up watching the season finale of long-running CBS show NCIS, and pseudo cliffhanger with the way it ended. It's no surprise they're setting it up for Mark Harmon leaving the show. And the last several episodes, he's been working since he's been suspended, starting to work off case with a reporter played by real-life wife Pam Dauber.
Oh, Mindy!
Yes.
Mindy.
So the way it ended, he finally got his boat running that he's been building all these years. And it was an explosive ending.
Oh, wow.
So we'll just have to wait and see.
No foreshadowing there.
So you'll just have to wait and see next season how they wrap that part with his farewell tour going off. And streaming on Netflix, I watched the first episode of season 2 of Ragnarok, which is a Norwegian show. They've dubbed in the English, but high school outcast Magna moves to Edda with his mom and brother after their dad passes, and he's told by a local grocery clerk, an older lady, that the coming battle with the giants is on the horizon and he is the hero. And she touches his hair and he gets flashbacks, and lo and behold, he is the god of thunder.
That's what you think when you hear Ragnarok.
Yep. So I will let you know after season 2 how it goes. I liked the first season, which is why I started in on the second. So something a little different and off kilter.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, so we're next week. We're going to review the Friends reunion special on HBO Max. I have seen it. Dave's getting ready to see it. So it'll still be relevant here in a couple weeks. Just came out this past Thursday. In music news, I will have 2 reviews for you next week. I know you guys are sitting there going, why you keep saying you're going to do stuff next week?
Because that's when they're released.
Just deal with it. It's called teasers, okay? Blackberry Smokes, you hear Georgia and Billy Gibbons Hardware. I will review next week. So
I will see if I can get a hold of Hardware.
Yeah, it comes out this coming Friday, the 4th. Big concert news for us. We have been waiting for Guns N' Roses. We had tickets to see them last summer.
Yep, got pushed back to this summer.
And they got pushed back to the fall as of yesterday. But
great and glorious news for the opening act.
Mammoth WVH Wolfgang Van Halen will be opening.
That's worth going right there.
This has now gone from a good concert to an all-time concert.
Fantastic.
Some interesting news with Wolfie, by the way. Obviously, being a Van Halen fanatic, I track everything he says. When he farts, I know it.
And what it smells like.
2 of the best songs he's released so far off his upcoming album, Feel and Mammoth. He actually played Frankenstein. Eddie's legendary guitar.
Really?
He actually played Frankenstein on those 2 songs.
I like it.
So
very cool.
It will be really cool to see if he pulls that out. I don't think he will.
I mean,
that guitar should be in the Smithsonian. It should be.
It should be.
But I am just so psyched to see Mammoth WVH.
That is awesome.
That's going to be a 2 t-shirt night for me.
There you go.
I got to get the opening act and the headliner.
There you go. I have some Vince Neil news for you. Playing the Boone River Valley Festival in Iowa. This was his first solo outing after COVID, because, they were gearing up for the Motley Crue, Poison, Def Leppard, Joan Jett were lined up for this big hair rock tour. We thought about tickets. Now I'm kind of glad we didn't, because Vince walked off the stage saying, "Sorry, everyone, my voice is effing shot."
Wow.
And that he left after the 14th song, but they were all saying that throughout he was not hitting the notes, forgetting lyrics, just not sounding good at all.
Now, was he trashed?
No.
Well, when you and I saw him, how many years ago was it when we saw Motley Crue?
It was their farewell tour.
Right.
That he sounded
and I
like
didn't
crap.
think I didn't think he sounded that great.
No. And there was
he was one of those guys who I can't stand, who did a lot of, you guys sing this song, and he stuck the mic out to the crowd.
Yeah.
And I can't
stand
that.
Because he couldn't carry it anymore.
So maybe, okay.
And now, by all accounts, he was supposed to have been in shape, voice ready to go for it, but once it got canceled, it sounds like he let himself go again and was not prepared for this at all.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
is
like you
not
said,
surprising.
Good thing we did not buy tickets.
Yeah.
And we'll see next year how things go. But yeah, that tour, as we mentioned here a couple weeks ago, got pushed back to 2022. Some of these tours did pull the trigger a bit early, I think.
Yeah.
The ones that needed to start in June seemed to be the ones that they were pushing back. If they were set to start in July, it seems like those are the ones that are still good to go.
Staying at this point. Yeah.
Right.
So
now we've got an odd music review.
We do. This is out of left field, and this is for you Bears fans out there. Our
cross-promoting our normal Sports Frenzy podcast every Thursday morning, Spotify, Anchor, Google, wherever you get your podcasts.
And on Facebook.
And rate us.
Yes, please. So, former tight end Zach Miller has been flirting with doing some singing and performing. Well, he wrote and has released his single, It's Country, How You Like Us Now. And we listened to it right before taping. It's not bad. It's not the worst country song we've ever heard, but it's not spectacular. It's middle of the road.
Yeah, I think we agreed probably 2 frenzies if we had to rate it.
If we had to rate it. But good for him for trying to find something outside of football.
Yeah, and you know I'm not the biggest country fan in the world. You probably tolerate country music more than I do. Although I do want to tell you, as an aside, when I review Blackberry Smoke next week, your favorite country artist of all time guests on one of the songs, the one where I went to the concession stand at the Leonard Skinner quadruple bill. Jamie Johnson is on one of the songs. So I'm going to burn you. I'm going to burn you a copy of that.
Oh my God, Jamie Johnson is the worst live performer ever.
We saw. We got to give you background on this. We saw Marshall Tucker, 38 Special, Jamie Johnson, and Leonard Skinner. And you know, it was a shame. It was a travesty.
It was because
that they only gave Marshall Tucker and 38 Special about 30 minutes apiece.
And they gave Jamie frickin' Johnson
an hour and a half?
Over an hour, almost an hour and a half. And it was the same monotone voice for every song. There was no inflection on anything. He just stood there. It was the worst. I don't know why people pay money to see this guy.
Yeah, we were stuck with it because we wanted to see the other 3 bands. But there are actually people out there. We've seen it locally since then, where he has played at local venues and he's sold out in minutes. And I'm with you. I don't get the appeal. I don't.
I've heard some of his stuff on the radio, and the recorded sounds so much better than what he is live. He is horrible live. Ugh.
Yeah, one of the few times where I was actually happy to miss
an
act.
God. I should have gone looking for the value beers with you.
Yeah, I went looking for value beers and a 38 Special shirt.
Oh, should have gone with you.
But, you know, it is what it is. Now, you have a book review.
I do. Jeffrey Deaver, his other series that he's started,
outside of Lincoln
Rhyme, Coulter Shaw, the 3rd book in this series, Final Twist, I finished up. Coulter is a reward seeker. His job is they find people who are missing where rewards are offered, and he finds the people. And the middle child, older brother, younger sister, raised in a compound in the Yosemite Mountains by a professor turned survivalist father. So they've learned all these different survival skills, how to deal with any situation. Really kind of a cool premise. But in the first one and throughout, he's learned more about his father's death. And this one is closing in on the killers and resolving it with the help of his long estranged and missing older brother who works for some secret government organization where they team up on this. And Coulter's thought his brother killed their father to protect their sister, but he was wrong. And it's actually not a bad little series so far. So I will give it 3 frenzies. So it's outside the norm. It's pretty good. So.
Yeah, I think I've told you. I read one Jeffrey Deaver novel, and I don't know if I read the wrong one. It was, I think, The Empty Chair.
That was not the strongest.
Lincoln Rhyme did not come off to me as a character I cared about or ever wanted to care about.
You can take them or leave them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're all right. And
then The Bone Collector, the movie, didn't help any.
No, the movie was bad. It did not do the book justice at all.
Yeah. So,
and then he's done Bond as well. He's done a Bond book that was true. Really good.
Yeah. And before we wrap up here, I want to bring that up real quick. We're going to movies here in the second segment, but one of the writers of the last 2 Bond movies, Spectre and Skyfall, and we talked about this last week, how Amazon has bought the MGM catalog.
Right.
This writer has come out and said he is scared to death of what Amazon will do with the Bond legacy because the Broccoli family has kept such a tight hold on the legacy. And, the rumors we've been hearing for 2 years is, the Broccoli's pretty much, if these rumors are true, botched it here anyway.
Right. So what difference does it make at this point?
I don't know. What do they think? They're going to do, Amazon's going to do animated James Bond Jr. adventures? What do they think's going to happen? There will be a revolt. If Amazon screws up the Bond legacy, there will be a revolt.
Yep. There'll be wailing and gnashing of teeth in the streets, kids.
Yes. And Daniel Craig proves again how smart he is, that he got out on time. And now he is working for Amazon, ironically, with the Knives Out movies.
Yes.
As we talked about a few weeks ago, Amazon has now acquired the rights.
Now, as long as they don't screw it up.
Now, here's my question to wrap this up. Now that they own the Bond movies, and now that they have the Knives Out, could they convince him to stay on as James Bond?
That would be intriguing. I don't know if he would, with everything involved with being Bond, with the stress that it's put on him physically and mentally to get ready for the role and to pull off everything that they do. I don't know if he's willing to do that at this point.
But it's an interesting thought.
It is.
Please, God, because the way they're talking about how No Time to Die is going to go, I'm kind of glad that COVID pushed this back. The inevitable disappointment, the inevitable wailing and screaming and yelling about, how could you do this?
This is hopes that
the PC crap that's coming.
We are hoping that COVID brings sanity and clarity and we get a different cut.
Yes. Yeah.
Of what is proposed out there.
They've had 1.5 years to rethink this. Please rethink it.
Re-edit. Do it correctly.
Do some reshoots before Daniel Craig has to do Knives Out 2. All right, kids. We'll be right back with movie reviews. Stay tuned. When your day of dealing with international intrigue is over, and you've settled down in your Aston Martin, call up Sports Frenzy 2.0 on your phone or smart car stereo. Every Thursday, Kevin Dave will take your mind off the megalomaniac who just had a laser pointed at your genitals with the best sports criticism around. And don't forget to listen to the weekend edition every Saturday so you can plan out your entertainment options with the femme fatale of your choice. Grab a martini, shaken, not stirred, and check out Frenzy, Sports Frenzy 2.0. Hey everybody, welcome back to Sports Frenzy 2.0, the weekend edition. It is time for our collaborative movie review of the week. We never promise that these are going to be current, because this one's about 9 years old, but we always promise it is the first time we've ever seen this movie.
That's right. This week we have Man on a Ledge. It's a police officer wrongly accused of a diamond theft and trying to prove his innocence from the ledge of a hotel building with the help of family and friends.
Yeah. Cast is phenomenal. I mean,
very well done.
Good
group.
Yeah. You have got Sam Worthington. You have got
Elizabeth Banks.
You've got Titus Welliver, who we love as Bosch in
yeah.
Amazon.
Mackie.
Yep, you got Mackie, Jamie Bell. Can I just say Genesis Rodriguez?
Oh
my Lord!
It's worth watching for her alone.
Yes, her pink bra and what's entrapped between those cups.
She's stunning.
Do you want to hear the really big news? I did some research on her. She's been in 2 Kevin Smith movies that we have never seen. She's in Tusk and she's in Yoga Hosers.
Oh, God.
Because I was like, I can't believe God. I've never seen her before. She's like a chestier, bustier, the girl from Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know we're dropping the ball right here, but that's all I could think of was this is the girl from a younger version of the woman from the Fast and the Furious
Rodriguez?
Series. No. You're thinking of Michelle, right? Yeah, no, that's not her.
No. Yeah.
But oh my God, she's unbelievably gorgeous. And of course, Ed Harris is in it.
Oh God, Ed Harris plays
William Sadler, who I've always loved, is in this. He plays a major role in this.
Yeah.
Normally a bit character, and he is here, but
so well done. I enjoyed it. It was an enjoyable thrill ride. It moved. It did not lag at all. While he's up on the ledge, his family's trying to help him out, and the coordination with everything, with the earpiece, trying to get the hostage negotiator, Elizabeth Banks, to help him out, to buy some time, to keep him from getting hit from the dirty cops. And it was a decent thrill ride. Some stuff I wasn't quite wild about. But overall, a solid, I give it a solid 2.5 frenzies.
I was really close to 2.5, really close. So I think you and I are pretty simpatico on this. I was going back and forth. 2.5, to me, 2.5 means I approve. Two means just missed. I'm going to go 2. I'm going to go 2 frenzies. And I'll tell you why.
Was it when he was chasing Ed Harris to make the final stop and the cheese at the end?
It's a lot of things. A lot of little things just added up to me not really liking it. The premise is fantastic. Like you said, he goes out on the ledge right away, and you're sitting there going, what the hell's going on? You got Edward Burns in there, another guy we didn't mention.
God, yeah, Burns was really good.
And you've got, to me, you had 2 different storylines going, because you've got the corruption with where he's working with IA on the one case, and then the Diamond case where he gets framed.
Yeah.
I always like a movie where they try to be a little more complicated than a little less complicated. So I didn't mind that.
This had some good undertones.
Right.
And background stuff that you learned as it moved.
Now, but that being said, I did not think it was well acted. I did not like the cast. I guess I'll blame the director because...
We'll blame the director because the way some of the characters were portrayed themselves.
Yeah, I mean, Elizabeth Banks is not one of my favorite actresses. I'm sorry. She's just not. And I think she's miscast in this role. Kira Sedgwick.
Oh my God, that was a horrible cast.
Where is the PC police on this? Because Kira Sedgwick plays an irritating TV commentator called Susie Morales. The last time I checked,
she was
Kira Sedgwick is about as Hispanic as I am. Okay? So you can say, oh, maybe she married a Hispanic guy. Bullshit.
There was no ring on that finger holding the microphone.
That's bad writing. It's bad. That is PC shit you should be called out on. You don't call somebody who's white bread like she is, Kevin Bacon's wife, Susie Morales. Again, just I don't know how I feel about the acting in the movie. Titus Welliver's good, but he plays Titus Welliver. Ed Harris plays angry Ed Harris. Boy, this movie really could have been so much better to me.
It could have. It had a lot more potential.
It had potential to be fantastic. It really did. And there were a couple scenes where he's dancing around on the ledges, trying to keep the tactical team away from him as they come down from the roof.
Yeah, maintaining balance on that
And like
ledge,
you said, he's trying to stall time for something else that's going on.
And I will say, they nailed it with the New York crowd chanting, jump, jump, jump.
And then the one guy saying, he's fighting for all of us. The rich guys always get away with everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And then,
but the movie did play off the chaos in the crowd.
That
came into play a couple times.
That was a key that he was going for.
Right.
That was the disturbances he
on
needed.
A couple different levels. He was trying to create chaos and disturbance.
Yes.
So he could pull off his other agenda, which we will not tell you. But I can think of worse ways to spend an afternoon. It's not overly long.
No, it's like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
The
cast is great.
Hour and a half. It's a fast hour and a half.
Yeah. I've seen worse. Let's put it that way. And that's coming soon.
We've all seen worse.
But it's in terms of a suspenseful thriller, not terrible. Like I said, I would lean towards The Conquistadors 2.5. If I could give it 2.25, I'd go 2.25.
Apropos.
I would give it 2.25.
I will split the difference with you on that.
But we don't do that. So I'll stick with Two Frenzies, but I'm leaning towards the 2.5 that Dave gave it. So you have some shocking movie news for me. You
Not necessarily shocking, but filming is beginning in the UK for Indiana Jones 5.
Why? The fourth one sucked ass.
Mads Mikkelsen is in 5. It's got some hope.
Hannibal. I know Hannibal's in it. Okay, great. They're never going to win me back after
the Crystal Skull.
The refrigerator nuclear bomb debacle. You're never going to win me back after that.
Or the horrible CGI off to the river.
I was one of the guys that didn't like 3. I know that's blasphemy. Well, you didn't like Sean Connery? I'm like, I didn't like the movie. I liked the first 2. I didn't like 3. I hated 4. Just
5 is...
And
this is going to be jumping the shark.
I thought they already did that. Oh.
All right, this is landing in the shark
tank.
This
is a money grab.
It is a money grab.
This is a pure, clean, simple money grab.
It's not going to be good. I would be surprised if it was decent.
And I hope it is. I hope it is good. I really do. But I have never. Have you? Let me ask you
The
this.
good thing is, though, I did not see Shia LaBeouf's name tied to it.
Oh, and what was the kid's name in Die Hard 4? Justin.
Justin Long.
Yeah. Thank God. They didn't bring him back for Die Hard 5, but it still sucked. This is what I'm saying. Just end the series once you suck it up. Once you drop a turd, it's done. Don't try to keep going.
Or take the Clint Eastwood route and end before you drop it.
Dirty Harry. The man knew what he was doing with Dirty Harry.
Yep.
Deadpool, the last one, done. Now, we could do an entire episode on how Gran Torino is the unofficial end of Dirty Harry.
Just like Unforgiven is the official end to The Man with No Name.
Yes, we could do an entire Sports Frenzy weekend edition on that, because I believe that made Clint Eastwood, those two movies made him the smartest man ever in Hollywood, because I think he officially wrapped up his two greatest characters.
Yep.
But we'll save that for another time. To go from the greatness of Clint Eastwood to saving my brother from another mother, The Conquistador, from watching a movie that we had on our list where we were thinking about watching these movies together.
All right, which one am I scratching off?
I went ahead and started to watch the horror movie Midsommar.
Oh, I told you I was leery of a horror movie.
Let me ask you this. How stupid am I? Because I should have
You are so stupid.
I should have seen right away when the runtime was 2 hours and 28 minutes.
Oh.
I'm thinking, how the hell can you make a horror movie 2 hours and 28 minutes work? Guess what? You can't.
Oh.
Now I'm going to bring my daughter, the protege, into this.
Oh, Lord.
Because she saw Hereditary. And that was the first movie this guy directed. Ari Aster is the director. Now, the first thing The first thing I thought was, when I got done last night with this, I thought, I had to look it up. Is this the same guy that did The Witch? Because I know you've told me how much you hate that movie. You know, pretentious, stupid horror movie.
Yeah, it was supposed to be the next great horror flick, and it sucked ass.
And I looked, and the reviews for this thing are phenomenal. I'm telling you, Dave, I had to stop it through the second half every 20 minutes, and I sat there, and I rubbed my temples, and I went, Jesus God, how stupid is this? Jesus God, when will this end?
Why didn't you just do the smart thing and
pull
stop
the ripcord? Pull the ripcord down. Because I can't. I need closure.
Closure is not subjecting yourself.
Oh my God. 2 hours. And here's another thing I got to bitch about. I went on IMDb. The ratings for this were like 7.1 out of 10. But when I look into the ratings, when I click on see all user reviews, all I see is 1, 2, 1, 1, 1. Tell me who's rating this 10 so they're skewing the numbers. Because this is garbage. I'll admit, I thought it looked interesting.
I don't even know what it's supposed to be about.
4 college kids go out to a commune in Sweden for summer vacation. One of their friends says, you should come out to meet my family. We have a festival every year. You know, in Midsommar.
Midsommar festival.
And they go out there.
Are they the sacrifices?
Meanwhile, Way to spoil everything for everybody, Dave.
Just asking.
Trust me, let him spoil it all for you because you don't want to watch this piece of garbage. The girl they take out there.
I mean, come on. If it's a festival called Midsommar out in a commune, what do you think is going to happen?
And you know the first thing I thought when the movie ended was? I thought back to when I saw Nicolas Cage in The Wicker Man. And I thought how awful, how terrible that movie was. How I wasted my time watching it. And it was the same thing. Little cult, doing strange, weird, goofy things. And the one guy that comes out there who tries to go, oh my God, this is weird. I got it. And of course, he gets captured and killed in the most despicable, awful ways. Gee, what do you think Midsommar is?
So what you're saying is go back and watch Children of the Corn instead.
Hey, it gets worse. I'm not done yet. It gets worse. It gets worse. I want to call out the actors. Florence Pugh is the lead female actress, okay? I think she was nominated for an Academy Award. I'm not sure. I did not do my research for Little Women.
Okay.
Wow, is she bad in this? Wow, is she bad? She just stares off with a little grumpy face because she has an early tragedy in her life. So the whole movie, all she does is stares off like everything sucks, people suck. And then her boyfriend who can barely put up with her is played by Jack Rayner. Now, I did not know about Jack Rayner until this movie. I have to tell you, he is like the love child of Chris Pratt and our buddy from Psych, James Roday. I'm watching it going, is it Pratt? Is it Roday? Who the hell is this? And here's the worst part. Now I've gotten to it. There's a shit ton of nudity in this movie.
And none of it's...
And a lot of it is men.
No.
So Jack Rayner's running around with his dog out half the time. And most of the other nudity, the female nudity, is women like 70 years old.
Oh. Not good.
So let's just put it this way. Little Maestro shriveled into his cave and did not come out until tonight. He's scared to death. He's been on a 24-hour break. Because that's what Midsommar did to him and to me. It destroyed me as a horror movie fan, and as a human being, and as a man.
So I rightfully questioned having that on the list.
Yes, you did. One frenzy. I like the setup. I did like the setup. I will give it one frenzy for the setup. It is not nearly as bad as that piece of crap from last year I watched, The Dead Don't Die, which could be the worst major release I've ever seen in my life. That being said, this is pretty close.
All right.
So it is off our list of movies to watch. You can thank me.
Thank you. Thank you for saving me.
For cock blocking in more ways than one.
Thank you for saving me from wasting 2.5 hours of my life.
Yeah, 2.5 hours of... Is this not the longest quote-unquote horror movie ever?
That's
2.5 hours?
That's pretty damn bad. That's pretty damn bad.
There is no excuse for having a 2.5 hour horror movie. And I was saying earlier about The Protege. The reason why I was bringing my daughter in, because she saw Hereditary, his first quote-unquote big hit.
And she liked
it. The critics loved it. And she came back and said, boy, that was a piece of garbage. Why do people like it so much?
So he's 0 for 2.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was really convinced when I was looking up his credit. I thought for sure he was going to be the director of The Witch. I really thought, oh my God, Dave warned me about The Witch. Don't tell me this is the same guy.
Oh, wow. That's just awful. All right. Well, I have another story time with Uncle Dave for you this week, kids. Wasn't expecting it. It popped up late over the holiday weekend, sitting around talking with the neighbors. We were chatting about movies, and they asked me, "So have you ever watch movies more than once?" And I just had to laugh. And after I picked myself up off the deck, I said, "Which one have I not seen more than once?" And said, "Well, I don't know. What about any Christmas type movies?" I don't know why that came up during Memorial Day, but said, "Well, yeah, every year we've got the tradition of watching Die Hard on Christmas Eve. We watch
Elf.
Christmas Vacation, or no, we watch Die Hard Christmas Day night, Christmas Vacation, Christmas Eve day, Elf in the days leading up to it." And they asked, "Well, what about A Christmas Story?"
Right.
And I said, "That one I have not seen in a while, but I've watched it." And they mentioned that they know somebody who had the Red Ryder BB gun and shot their eye. And then we got on, they asked, we're talking about the house there. You can rent out in Ohio, where it was filmed. The Christmas Story house is an Airbnb
No kid.
that you can rent, and it's got the leg lamp in the window. And of course, it costs more at Christmas time.
Of course.
So, and then got on the costume, the pink bunny jammies. And they asked, "So which kid would you dress up in that?" I said, "Well, I think I would have to put my oldest boy in the pink bunny suit, and my youngest, I would have to put in the aardvark hat, hooded jacket from Better Off Dead." And like, what? Better Off Dead? So I had to go and explain the John Cusack movie where he's in high school trying to kill himself for losing his girlfriend, and his mom gets his dad, played by Ogden Stiers, this jacket made of aardvark fur, and the hood is the aardvark head, and she tells him everybody's going to wear him this year. And he goes outside, and lo and behold, there's the neighbor wearing the same damn jacket.
And of course, that movie is also famous for the claymation Eddie Van Halen guitar solo, right?
Yep, doing Everybody Wants Some.
That's why we do story time. Uncle Dave nailed it. That's exactly why we're bringing you story time when we can, to bring back those great memories of those movies that we're not going to review. We're not going to review them. We're not going to bore you with reviews. But when we can bring in stories like that,
there you go.
Killer stories like
and
Uncle
that
Dave just
nails
gave
a
you.
number of flicks for you, kids.
All right, we're going to be right back with our moments of silence and our dumbass of the week. Stuck in a no-win situation? Wife being held captive while your feet bleed? Take a second to decompress. Pull out your smartphone and listen to Sports Frenzy 2.0 on Spotify, Anchor, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Breaker, Apple, Overcast, and Castbox. And don't forget to check out their Facebook page. The Maestro and the Conquistador will take your mind off your dire predicament and give you the best non-PC sports commentary you'll find anywhere. And once you compose your exit strategy and take down some German terrorists, you'll want to yell, "Yippee-ki-yay, Sports Frenzy 2.0! Hey everybody, welcome back to Sports Frenzy 2.0, the weekend edition, available on Spotify, Anchor, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Breaker, Apple, Overcast, and Castbox. Do not forget to check out our Facebook page if you like sports, and of course, rate us the highest you possibly can, because we are awesome. I am the Maestro, Kevin Crane.
I am the Conquistador, Dave Height.
And it's time to wrap up the weekend edition with, as always, the moments of silence, followed with the 180 to the Red Foreman dumbasses of the week. But unfortunately, we have
too damn many moments of silence.
A lot of entertainment people passed away this past week. And number one, even affecting somebody as young as my daughter's not even 20 yet. And when I told her that the guy who sang Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head died, she was sad.
Yeah, that's an iconic song.
Yeah. Even younger kids love that song.
Yeah, B.J. Thomas passes away.
And the captain of the Love Boat,
Gavin MacLeod. Big role in Mary Tyler Moore show.
Yep. Yeah, I was never a big Love Boat guy. You know, that Saturday Night Love Boat Fantasy Island thing. I know it was big. I just never got into it. I was a Friday night guy. I wanted Miami Vice, Falcon Crest, Dallas, Manimal, all that good Friday night stuff.
And then I waited for the Friday night after the news to get to see Kolchak, the Night Stalker.
Yeah. One of the most underrated shows of all time. Now, again, tragedy. We talked about in our sports frenzy this week about Mark Eaton, the center for the Utah Jazz, who died in a bike crash. Kevin Clark, who played the drummer in the band in School of Rock, at 32 years old, died in Chicago.
In a bicycle accident.
Yeah, this time, though, as opposed to Mark Eaton, he actually got hit by a car.
Yeah.
And Jack Black was devastated by it.
Those two had a really good rapport.
Yeah.
Through the movie.
Yeah, and it's got to be tough. I always give actors a hard time. Sometimes I think they're pampered babies. I don't think that's the case with Jack Black. And I could see him really connecting with that cast, that young cast in School of Rock. And so I do believe he's being sincere when he says he's devastated by this.
Yeah.
And then Robert Hogan, you might go, who? Robert Hogan was a character actor, one of those guys that you really didn't see, but you did.
Yeah, you didn't know his name, but you knew his face when he popped up on the screen.
Yeah, of course, the news stories that have come out since he's passed note that he was in The Wire, which is a phenomenal show. And, of course, then they go to soap operas. So they go from one extreme, one of the most critically acclaimed crime dramas of all time, to cheesy soap operas. But if you look at his resume, the man was in Mission Impossible. He was in The Incredible Hulk. He has been in
damn near everything you could think of.
Most of the iconic shows of the 70s and early 80s.
Yeah.
So thoughts and prayers to his family.
And then we've had two legendary authors, illustrators, and children's books. Eric Carle, who did The Very Hungry Caterpillar, Brown Bear, has passed away, as has Lois Ehlert, who did the illustrations for Chicka Chicka Boom Boom, and she also won the Caldecott Award for Color Zoo. So stuff that all your kids have probably read.
I know The Hungry Caterpillar. And believe me, I could give one rat's ass about kids' books, but I know The Hungry Caterpillar. Believe me.
So, and then Paul Soles, the original voice of Spider-Man, passed away, who also did the voice of Hermie the Elf and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And then we talked about him earlier, Clint Eastwood. His longtime stunt double, Buddy Van Horn, passed away, who was also a director in his own right, and did, what was it, Any Which Way But Loose, or was it?
We have not been able to verify. It's either one of the two.
Yeah,
either the first or the second,
both.
with the orangutan. The orangutan movie.
Left Turn, Clyde.
But he definitely directed the Deadpool.
Yeah.
The last Dirty Harry movie.
Yeah. So... yeah.
And, of course, in a plane crash, a tragic plane crash, Joe Lara at 58 passed away. He was the star of Tarzan.
The Epic Adventures.
Yep. So
way too many.
Yeah, just a sad, sad week for entertainment.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of dumbasses, I know, again, we do our 180, and we go from solemn and mournful to stupid and dumber and dumber-est. And
the way they're screwing up their life.
Death would be a sweet release. So, I have got the only dumbass of the week as we wrap this up. Dave and I are going to review the Friends special next week on HBO Max. But before we actually get to the review, I want to call out all the idiots in the mainstream media who, when the reunion special was released on HBO Max last Thursday, decided to start ripping it to shreds. And no, we're not going to talk about how Matthew Perry looks. No, we're not going to talk about Joey LeBlanc or Joey Tribbiani, Matt LeBlanc being your drunk Irish uncle, which I guess is like a meme or something on Facebook now.
Yeah.
What I'm going to talk about is the idiots who have now decided to call out Friends because of the lack of diversity.
Oh, for the love of all that's holy. The show has been off the air for how long? 17 years now?
So basically, must-see TV on Thursday was all racist. Because think about it. Seinfeld, Cheers, Friends, Night Court.
No.
There was?
Yes.
Okay.
Ernie Hudson.
The thing is, can we just move past it? If there was a show,
you can't go backwards, and it just, you can't.
And
it happened.
You can't force a narrative. I hate to say it, but sometimes 6 white people might actually be friends, and they might not have a black friend, and they might not have a gay friend. I hate to break it to you, but that's the way things were back in the 90s.
And you're going to have gay people who do not have straight friends. You're going to have black friends who don't have white friends. It happens.
Stop forcing the narrative. We've talked about shows like this. We have talked about the things that you are doing. CBS, ABC, NBC. You force the narrative, as the Conquistador said. You make us feel bad because you force people of color into storylines where they don't belong. You force white people into storylines where they don't belong. You force gay people into storylines where they don't belong. You force straight people into gay storylines where they don't belong. Just let the goddamn writers do their job and don't give them a quota and say, well, you are not going to get this show approved unless you have 1 black person and 1 gay person and 1 lesbian and 1 Hispanic and 1 Asian American. That's not creativity. That is not creativity. Let people write what they want to write and let it fall. Let it be judged for what it is. Stop forcing your goddamn agendas on everybody else.
Yes.
That's why
there
I like
go.
The Conquistador. Just when he does that, I know he's done with me.
What more can you say?
We can say goodnight, kids.
Good night, kids.
I'm the maestro, Kevin Crane.
I'm the Conquistador, Dave Height.
And we hope you like the weekend edition. Again, we got rid of the music just for you. So now we're available all over the goddamn place.
And rate us, damn it.
We will check you out next weekend. Reviews of the Friends HBO Max reunion special, as well as Guns Akimbo is our movie for next week.
Yep,
so,
Daniel Radcliffe.
So we'll see you, kids. Have a good weekend.